Hamilton escaped a second FIA sanction at Silverstone, but not because the yellow flag disappeared. He escaped because the evidence was not strong enough to take his podium away. On lap 38, Hamilton had just overtaken Max Verstappen when Nico Hülkenberg's Audi stopped near Copse, Maggots and Beckett's, one of the fastest sections of the British Grand Prix. A yellow flag zone appeared. Hamilton went through it. He admitted he did not see it. He expected a penalty, and that penalty could have changed everything. Third place gone, 15 points at risk. Ferrari's podium under threat. But then the FIA investigation revealed the detail that turned the entire case upside down. Hamilton entered the sector before any yellow flag or yellow light panel was displayed. The first light panel he saw after Copse was green, and the yellow warning on his steering wheel appeared only briefly when he was already close to the end of the yellow flag zone. That is the crucial point. This was not a driver ignoring a clear warning. This was a driver being judged on a warning that arrived late, appeared briefly, and came while he was still defending from Verstappen at extreme speed. So the FIA gave him a driving reprimand. But no time penalty, no lost podium, no second race changing sanction. And now the real question is much bigger than Hamilton. If Formula One expects drivers to react instantly, can the sport afford warnings that arrive too late to be truly useful? A yellow flag, a green light panel, a late steering wheel alert, a Verstappen battle, and an FIA verdict that saved Hamilton, while exposing a weakness Silverstone could not hide. Subscribe to the channel. To understand why Hamilton escaped that second race changing sanction, you have to start with the moment that made the whole case so dangerous. Lap 38, Silverstone. Hamilton had just overtaken Max Verstappen. That detail is not just context, it is the foundation of the FIA's decision. Because when you pass Verstappen, the fight does not simply end. You do not move ahead, breathe out, and relax. Verstappen is the kind of driver who keeps the pressure alive. He makes the next corner feel like part of the same overtake. He forces the car ahead to check the mirrors, cover the inside, protect the line, and expect a counterattack before the move is truly safe. So Hamilton was not driving through that moment with a clear, quiet mind. He was still fighting. Ahead of him was Copse, Maggots and Beckett's, one of the fastest and most demanding sections in Formula One. Behind him was Verstappen, close enough to keep Hamilton's attention split. And somewhere in that same high-speed sequence, Nico Hülkenberg's Audi had stopped, creating the yellow flag situation that would later put Hamilton under investigation. On paper, the yellow flag rule is simple. When a driver sees a single yellow flag, he must slow down. He must show a clear reduction of speed. He must be prepared for danger ahead. He cannot attack, he cannot ignore the warning, and he cannot treat that part of the track as if nothing has changed. That rule matters. It protects drivers. It protects marshals. It protects the people who may be close to a stopped car, debris, or a dangerous part of the circuit. So at first, Hamilton looked exposed. He had gone through the yellow flag zone. He admitted he did not see it. He expected a penalty. And when a driver with Hamilton's experience says he probably has punishment coming, the entire paddock listens. Because a time penalty after the race can destroy a result. It can take a podium away after the champagne moment has already started. It can change the points table. It can turn a strong finish into damage limitation. It can make a driver lose something he can no longer fight for on track. And that is why the investigation felt so serious. Hamilton had finished third. 15 points were on the line. Ferrari's podium was under threat. The British Grand Prix result was not fully secure until the FIA made its call. But then the stewards looked at the evidence. And the evidence did not tell the simple story people expected. Hamilton entered the relevant sector before any yellow flag or yellow light panel was displayed. That means he was already moving into the danger area before the normal trackside warning had appeared clearly in front of him. Then came the detail that changed the tone of the case completely. The first light panel he encountered after Copse, before Maggots, was green. Green, not yellow. And that matters because a Formula One driver reacts to the information placed directly in his world. He does not have the broadcast view. He does not have a calm replay. He does not have time to compare different angles and decide what probably happened. He sees the track. He sees the lights. He feels the car. He listens to the team. And in that moment, green is not a warning. Green tells the driver the track is clear. So Hamilton was in a high-speed battle environment with Verstappen still in his mirrors, and the first visible panel after Copse was not telling him to slow. It was telling him the opposite. Then the steering wheel warning appeared. But even that arrived too late to make this case clean. The yellow indication came up only when Hamilton was already on the straight toward turn 10, close to the end of the yellow flag zone. It was visible only for a very short time. That gave him very limited opportunity to react before the moment had almost passed. That is why the FIA could not treat this like a normal yellow flag infringement, because this was not a driver charging through a clear yellow zone with obvious warnings all around him. This was a driver who had just completed a move on Verstappen in one of Silverstone's fastest sections, receiving late and limited information, while the visible trackside signal he had seen was green. That does not mean Hamilton did everything right. The reprimand proves the steward still believed he did not fully comply with the single yellow flag requirement, but it does mean the evidence was not strong enough to justify a time penalty. And that distinction is the whole story. Hamilton escaped the second major sanction because the FIA could not prove that he had a clear, timely warning and ignored it. What the evidence showed instead was a messy warning environment. A late signal, a green panel, a brief steering wheel alert, a driver still managing a Verstappen threat. That is why the punishment stopped at a reprimand. Not because nothing happened, because the evidence did not support anything harsher. And in Formula One, that matters more than emotion. Fans can be angry. Teams can be nervous. Rivals can question the outcome. But stewarding cannot be built on vibes. It has to be built on what can be proven. What did the driver see? When did he see it? How long did the warning last? Did he have enough time to react? Was the danger visible in his immediate field of vision? Was there context that affected his attention? Those were the questions that decided Hamilton's case. And once those questions were answered, the FIA had only one realistic path. Record the breach. Acknowledge the mitigation. Protect the podium. That is why the decision landed in the middle. A driving reprimand, but no time penalty. A warning to Hamilton, but not a result-changing sanction. A fault noted, but not punished severely enough to rewrite the British Grand Prix classification. For some fans, that will always feel too soft. They will say a yellow flag is a yellow flag. They will say every driver must slow no matter what. They will say Hamilton admitted he did not see it, and that should have been enough. But the other side is just as important. A driver cannot react to a warning before it reaches him. A driver cannot be judged the same way if the light panel in front of him is green. A driver cannot be punished as harshly for ignoring a signal that appeared only briefly near the end of his own, compared with a signal that was clear, early, and obvious. That is the difference between disobedience and limited opportunity. And Silverstone forced the FIA to separate the two. This is where the case becomes bigger than Hamilton, because the safest warning system is not the one that technically exists somewhere in the data, is the one the driver can actually see, understand, and act on before danger arrives. That is the uncomfortable truth. Formula One is measured in fractions of a second. Drivers are expected to obey instantly. But instant obedience requires instant clarity. If the warning arrives late, then the system has already made the driver's job harder. And that matters because yellow flags are not about paperwork. They are about safety. They exist because something dangerous has happened. A car may be stopped. A marshal may need to move. Debris may be present. Another driver may be in a vulnerable position. The yellow flag is supposed to reduce risk before the next car arrives at full speed. So if the warning is delayed, the safety purpose is weakened. That is why the FIA's own findings were so important. They did not just save Hamilton from a penalty. They exposed the need for the warning chain to be stronger. Trackside lights, steering wheel alerts, timing systems, race control messages, all of it has to work together in a way that gives the driver a realistic chance to respond. Because next time, it might not be Hamilton. It might be a rookie trying to survive in traffic. It might be a driver on cold tires after a restart. It might be someone approaching a stopped car in an even worse place. It might be a moment where the difference between an early warning and a late one is not a reprimand, is danger. That is the real reason this case should worry Formula One. Hamilton escaped the sanction, but the system did not escape the question. Was the warning clear enough? Was it early enough? Was it visible enough? Was it fair to expect a stronger reaction from the driver in that specific moment? The stewards answered those questions with restraint. They did not fully excuse Hamilton. They did not punish him harshly. They chose the middle path because the evidence itself lived in the middle. And that is why the verdict will matter the next time a similar case appears. Teams will remember the green panel. Drivers will remember the late steering wheel warning. Fans will remember that Hamilton kept third. And the FIA will know that when a warning system leaves doubt, a major sanction becomes much harder to defend. That is the first major lesson from Silverstone. Hamilton did not escape because the rule was weak. He escaped because the evidence was. But the next layer is even more revealing because Hamilton's escape did not happen in a clean race. It happened in a British Grand Prix already full of FIA pressure, race control confusion, and questions about whether the information reaching everyone was good enough. That matters, because if Hamilton's yellow flag incident had been the only controversial moment at Silverstone, maybe the debate would have stayed smaller. Maybe fans would have argued about one driver, one warning, one stewarding document, and then moved on. But that is not what happened. The same race also had a late safety car situation after Max Verstappen spun into the gravel at Stowe on lap 48. That incident changed the ending of the Grand Prix. Suddenly, the race that had been building toward a dramatic finish was locked behind the safety car. And then came the mistake. A message appeared saying the safety car would come in on that lap. For a moment, it looked like the British Grand Prix was about to restart. One final lap, cold tires, nervous drivers, a chance for attack, a chance for disaster, a chance for Silverstone to explode. But then the restart never came. The race finished behind the safety car. And after the race, the FIA admitted the message had been displayed incorrectly because of a software error. That is where the Hamilton yellow flag case becomes part of a much bigger story. Because in both moments, the problem was information. Hamilton's yellow warning appeared late, briefly, and after a green light panel. The safety car message appeared incorrectly, suggesting a restart that race control was not actually going to deliver. Different incidents, same weakness. The system knew one thing, but the people relying on the system received something unclear. And in Formula One, that is dangerous. Because this sport runs on instant reaction. Drivers react to lights before they have time to think. Teams react to race control messages before the audience fully understands what changed. Fans react to the timing screens, the graphics, the official notices, and the commentary around them.